Welcome to the top secret spoilerific chat about WandaVision.
Spoilerific, yeah.
Shaun and Tosin's WandaVision spoilers chat, where we are going to go into this whole thing about WandaVision. So we're talking about WandaVision, the first TV show that Marvel Studios have made on Disney Plus that is going to be totally intertwined with the films. Yeah. So it's in a way it's not like you have films and you have TV. This is the Marvel Cinematic Universe growing up to just swallow everything. It's like, we will have this, but we'll also have this TV thing on the side where we can find out. So, Shaun, first up, let's go with you. I'm gonna wind it because anybody listening to this has probably been watching WandaVision, knows what it's all about. So we don't really have to explain a whole bunch of stuff. And quite frankly, we're not going to explain a whole bunch of stuff. Just go. What did you think of WandaVision?
Okay, WandaVision. Well, I mean, it started off. You thought the first couple of episodes, you're thinking, "Where's this going? Where's this going? Where's this going?" But I think you've said this before, Toes. You just got to stick with them because it just pays dividends. It just sort of super pays dividends because, bang, when it happens, it's like, oh wow, and then it just gets better, and the surprises we got, turning up. That I think that's was one of the jaw-dropping moments is when Quicksilver turns up.
Evan Peters, who played Quicksilver in the X-Men movies,
the X-Men turns up. I mean, I reckon that probably happened to a lot of people that saw it. I bet their jaw dropped, don't you? I bet it went.
No, mine totally did.
It's like, what is that all about? Wow. So, and this has got moments like that all the time, and I think it's really, really clever as well how they've managed to bring the Vision back. I thought that was the way it's gone, and I was pleased again with the other Agatha Harkness, and I knew. I think I said to you, and you knew exactly what I was talking about when we sort of did a little thing on that. And I'm like, man, this. I thought, I bet that is. I bet that is. And again, I really liked that paid dividends because he's quite, with the runes and the power and all that. And that battle at the end was like, oh no, Wanda, what are you doing? What are you doing? You forgot we're in the rooms and remember this guy. So I'm like, oh man, yeah. And I mean, it was just like packed full of great things, and it was, I don't know, it just worked. It was really, really good. And you had a few characters that turned up, like, what is the FBI guy's name? The one that chased
Jimmy Woo.
Jimmy Woo, yeah.
Randall Park, I love him.
He's great, isn't he? Because he's like, he's just like, he wants to be liked and he's sort of a little bit I don't know what's the word, naive maybe, is it?
He seems naive, he seems clumsy, but he actually is quite a good agent. He's got
exactly.
That's the thing. Yeah, Jimmy, and I think I agree with you. The first couple of episodes I was watching them, and because obviously you had this whole thing of them doing sitcoms. So the first episode is the Dick Van Dyke Show, the next one is Bewitched, then it's the Brady Bunch, and I thought, and these were essentially like sitcoms from that era, but I maintain, and I still think, that they were bad sitcoms from that era. Like, for instance, I'm not watching the first episode of WandaVision, and it does not make me want to go watch the Dick Van Dyke Show at all. Because I'm like, if these are the kind of things that happen in the Dick Van Dyke Show, then for goodness sake, that is boring. Who the hell wants to do that? Who put this thing on TV? Yeah. And that's I just don't want. It doesn't make me want to do that. No. So, but I remember watching it, but at the end of every episode, they would have this snippet to show you, okay, this is what's happening. This is what's actually going on. This is what's going on in the wider world. And I remember putting up on Facebook saying, does anybody else feel like the most important bits of every episode of WandaVision are the last 10 seconds?
Yeah.
And people were like, oh, well, why don't you just stop watching it then? I'm like, what? I'm like, no, are you stupid? This is Marvel. It's like, I'm supposed to stop watching it and miss a massive payoff. No, forget it. Pull the other one. And then episode 4 was when they actually, and I was like, okay, now this is, because one of the things I love about WandaVision, and you were talking about with Jimmy Woo, is that they have taken a whole bunch of characters that have shown up in the MCU and have been around but have been background characters, and they've given them a story. Yeah. So I mean Jimmy Woo, Darcy from who was in the first 2 Thor movies. Yeah, played by Kat Dennings. I mean to be honest with you, Vision and Wanda, if you look at the Avengers movies, if you look at the Captain America Civil War, they are background characters. They're not you never really spent a lot of time on their story.
No.
Because it was all about your Captain Americas and your Iron Mans and everything. And I think one of the great things that they did with WandaVision is that they took them and they gave them a corner where they could be the main person.
Yeah.
They could, and one of the things I loved about the show was the fact that they made Wanda's vision. They make Wanda's grief real. Because when you think about it, in the film, she's lost her parents. She lost her brother. She lost Vision in Infinity War. But all these things, because there's the end of the world happening, they were kind of brushed under the carpet in the films.
Yeah.
And you never... And so the question of, okay, what does all that trauma do to somebody mentally never comes up. And then in WandaVision, they gave you 9 episodes, which is longer than any of the films that they've had so far.
Yeah.
And they gave you 9 episodes to say, this is what all that grief has done. And one of the biggest triumphs for me is that it worked. I believed it. I believed that this woman has been through hell, and it has really, really cracked her up.
And she plays it really well as well, doesn't she? Really well. She shows the whole gamut of emotions there. And you almost, and you do feel sorry for her, and you can see the hurt inside her, can't you? There's moments
I think Elizabeth Olsen is brilliant.
Yeah.
It's as if it's almost as, and because it's Kevin Feige, I can believe this is what happened. I can believe that when she signed up, he was like, "Okay, look, don't worry, you'll be in like 5 films, and there might not be much going on, but this is what we have waiting for you." And then that's when she was going, "Yeah, I'm signing up for that."
Yeah.
And I think even Paul Bettany as Vision, who sometimes I can feel, because it's Vision and it can be a bit wooden. I think that's supposed, but there were some moments where he came up, like, when he's talking about the kids, the final episode, especially in the final episode, where it's like the bit where she's closing the hex and Vision is, he knows he's going to die and he's giving all these speeches. I'm like, sheesh, this is like, Guardians of the Galaxy, when Groot says, "We are Groot," and everybody in the whole world cried. It was kind of getting you like, oh my god, this is actually quite affecting. This is actually quite affecting. So and also one thing I was saying about the show that how I have gone on record and said I hate the multiverse. I hate the idea of a multiverse, and I love the fact that Marvel have done it twice now. They've done it twice now, where they've put something forward that everybody goes, "Oh yeah, here we go, it's the multiverse," and they go, "Nope."
No, that's it.
And they go, "No multiverse," and they just yank it from underneath people. They did it in Spider-Man: Far From Home. Everybody goes, "Oh my god, Mysterio's from another universe." They're like, "Nope." There they were like, "Oh look, we've got Quicksilver. He's coming. He's the guy who plays X-Men in the other plays Quicksilver in the other X-Men movies." And you're like, "Oh my god, they're gonna bring a multiverse," and they go, "Nope."
Yeah, I know.
It's just Agatha messing with, not just messing with Wanda, but messing with you who's watching. And I feel I feel like Marvel are like Agatha, who are messing with everybody who's watching, and they are playing with everybody who's watching this show because they know they can and they know what they have. And I love it. I love the fact that they're saying no. At the moment, they're saying no to the multiverse because that way, I was going to say that way madness lies, but the new Doctor Strange movie is called Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. And even that does not necessarily mean that they're going to go down the multiverse route.
No, it doesn't.
So so I think this show, I might have been a Marvel fanboy, but this show has given me even more respect for them and for their storytelling and for the way they weave everything together. And the fact that even though I knew that the final episode, I was like, the final episode is not going to be complete. It cannot be complete. There's too much. They're going to leave it open to that. Even though I knew that was going to happen, and even though I do not like open endings, and I was satisfied at the end. I was like, because they've left it that all the stuff that she did is not going to be forgotten. It isn't like, oh, everything is fine now. At the end of Wandavision, you're like, things are messed up.
Really, big time, yeah. They are.
Things are messed up. And
is it that you probably look at the reviews and things more than I do, because I tend not to do it. But I mean, generally, I'm assuming from what I've seen that most of them are positive.
Yeah, most of them are positive.
Yeah.
They're uniformly positive.
Yeah, people love it.
Yeah, people love it. People say that it's nice to have more time with the story when and everything is not about punching somebody.
Yeah.
I mean, even the fact that when you had Vision and White Vision fighting each other, that their fight doesn't end; it stops for them to have a philosophical discussion.
Yeah.
It's just to go like the ship of Theseus. Explain.
Explain. Yeah.
And I love the fact that it just did all those things.
I think the witches scenes was quite interesting. The bit where she went back to where they were trying to kill Agatha.
Yeah,
I sort of lost a little bit there. I sort of lost a little bit of a thread there. I guess that was Agatha actually using her magic, but because that was a bit of a confusing one. Or I couldn't work out if it was Wanda or if it was Agatha in that one. I'm assuming it was Agatha because of the way things went.
I have to say, I do feel that in episode 8, that's where they did all the flashbacks. They did Agatha flashback, and that episode is probably my least favorite episode. Because it was massively exposition heavy. It was essentially just Agatha walking around, and I feel like that was the bit where Catherine Han, who plays Agnes / Agatha. That was the bit where her performance, I felt it being great all the way through. Then in this one episode, I felt like it went a bit broad, and it went it went a bit kind of panto.
Hammy, a bit hammy, wasn't it? It was a bit too hammy. It was a bit Wizard of Ozzy, you know. I get you, my lovely. It was a bit, So, I totally agree with you on that. That particular time, it was like, it was too panto, you know, play. But I mean, and that last one with the battle between them, I quite liked. I like the final episode. I think what they've done with her is the way they've left her sort of like with her memory kind of wiped of being Agatha is quite interesting. I think it's quite interesting, and I think one of the biggest things that the MCU does is how they take costumes that when you look at them in the comic, you think that would look stupid in real life. That would look absolutely stupid in real life. And they managed to, like, at the end, when she shows up in the proper Scarlet Witch outfit, you're like, that looks amazing. Yeah, really, really, really. Yeah, definitely. And I mean, I really like the bit where where it's like the Halloween trick or treat and they all turn up in the, I mean, that was a great one, wasn't it? Really, where they actually get dressed up like they were in the comics originally, you know. That was pretty cool.
I thought it was good. And what do you think about the end scene where the Skrull shows up?
Oh yeah, comes down. Yeah, so we got to go. I know. Yeah, that was. I didn't really see that coming. Did you? But I mean, it just leaves it open for all sorts of you know. It's superb, really. I quite like that the Skrull story, really. Although they in the Marvel universe, they're sort of goodies, aren't they? Really, whereas in the comics they were super baddies. But
I hated the Skrulls. So we're talking Skrulls.
Yeah, Skrulls.
You're talking Skrulls. Okay, now I never liked the Skrulls in the comics. I hated the Skrulls. I mean, they were baddies and all that. Yeah. And I hated the Skrulls because I just really did not like that idea that somebody, because usually the storylines I would catch, because it was always itty bitty when I was trying to follow these storylines in in Nigeria. And the storylines that I would catch would be like, you know, somebody who they love, like it's their wife or their girlfriend or something, and like they're in there but oh no, it's been a Skrull all along, and the fact that they could be anybody, and I just hated that. And I think there was a bit of me that didn't like the idea that you could have a whole storyline that you're invested in, and at the end they'll be like, oh, it was a Skrull all along. and I hated that. So I think when they brought the Skrulls in with their shape-shifting things in Captain Marvel, and then they turned them into refugees, I thought that was very clever. I thought that was very clever because if they're just baddies, it makes for I don't think it makes for good storytelling.
No, I think that's they've really brought it up to date, haven't they? They've you know, the Marvel universe has been brought really up to date, and although it's not exactly the same as the comics, there's enough in the movies and in the series to accommodate comic fans and movie fans. Yeah, you know there's enough of the real diehard comic fans. There's enough in these Marvel movies to please them, you know, to keep them on side.
And I think that is such an impressive feat.
Certainly, yeah.
Such an impressive feat to have the whole thing where you're like, oh, you're a diehard person. Oh, you have a tattoo of this person who showed up in this random one edition of a comic book in 1953, and you can name it all. Okay, we'll still have stuff that you would like. Going on, I think you were talking about it, going on to YouTube and how for WandaVision, every episode, people were like, oh my god, this is what this means. Is it Mephisto? Is Mephisto coming?
Yeah.
And you realize that it's one of those things when you look at it, and I realize, I'm like, I think I like comics. But then you see something and you go, you know what? I am nothing compared to some people who are out there. This is a religion.
Yeah, it is. It really is. But don't you think there's enough in there to keep people in the Marvel films? There's enough there to keep the comic guys happy.
Yeah.
They put enough in there and they make it. It just works. Whereas I think with DC, there's a lot of ones that really the comic fans are like absolutely, that sucks.
Yes. I think the problem is at DC they're trying to make money.
Yeah.
At DC, that is their first and foremost thing, is that they're trying to make money. I think, and so they give it to people who are not particularly fans of the original characters or of the original comics. Like, for instance, Zack Snyder, who did Man of Steel. I do not think the guy's a Superman fan.
No.
I don't think he understands Superman. He doesn't understand why Superman would be the way he is. He doesn't understand why Batman wouldn't kill anybody. He doesn't understand any of that. So he just throws out. So the thing that's at the heart of all these characters, he throws them out of the window. He just chucks them. Someone like Patty Jenkins is different. She understands what's at the heart of Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
But I think, but at Marvel, Kevin Feige, he's like the biggest geek of them all. And he knows these things, he loves these things, he understands these things, and he's not going to let people mess it up.
No, that's it. And I mean, he's doing a really good job.
He really, really is. He really, really is. And so he's just guarding everything. So, and I think after WandaVision comes out, and with its weirdness and its everything, and I think for me the biggest thing is just taking two side characters and giving them room to breathe. Like, we've been seeing these characters for like over 10 years, but we haven't really gotten to know them. And getting to know Wanda, for me, was one of the best things about this thing, because they made her like a real character who actually you could understand that she has been through crap. But
she's got to be. I think she's got to be probably one of the most powerful. One of the most powerful superheroes in. Even I reckon she's even stronger than Miss Marvel. In fact, I went on. Like you do stuff. I was like, who would win out of a fight between Scarlet Witch and Miss Marvel? Like that. And I mean, it's like split. Well, Miss Marvel's just now, but the majority of people seem to think that now, in the current state, that Wanda is like super.
It will be. I'm sorry, it will be Wanda, because all Captain Marvel can do, let's be honest, is punch hard. Punch hard, fly, and blast things. That's what she can do. But Wanda can change reality. So, and it was something I never thought that they were going to go to in the films. I never thought they were going to go down the whole reality bending powers that Wanda has, because where are you going to stop? But and at the end, where they showed her doing essential, remember the bit where she sat down with a cup of coffee or something, and she goes into the house, and then you go into the room, and then you see the other Wanda, like reading through I was like, oh, I see what they're doing, because that's exactly what happened in Doctor Strange. That's how Doctor Strange, and I was just kind of like, oh, Marvel, you clever people. You clever people. But it has made me interested for all the other stuff. Like, I know Falcon and Winter Soldier.
That should be cheap.
That's coming out next week.
Wow.
Falcon Winter Soldier is coming out next week, Friday. I think they're going to do the similar thing with WandaVision, where they're going to do an episode a week. Then they have Loki, and then they have Hawkeye. And I am so interested to see how they're going to do this, and then how they're going to bring it with the films, and how they're going to bring everything back together. This is going to be good.
It is. And on that note, Toes, I better make a move.
on that note, I think we'll do it, but we'll just say, yeah, well done, Marvel. Keep it going.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, until the next time when we come back, we'll probably do one of these for Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Even though I feel that might be a bit more straightforward than Wandavision.
Yeah.
So, but we'll see. All right, cool.
Okay, Toes.
Speak to you later, Shaun.